The Desperate Call. Introduction to the Galactic Alliance facing an existential threat from their Void Scourge. Ambassador NYX of the Luminary makes the controversial decision to contact Earth. Earth's mysterious isolation and reputation as fearsome warriors explained. The desperate transmission sent across the void to Earth. Strange phenomena begin appearing as Earth's response comes. First contact with Earth's emissary, Captain Severin Drake. The revelation of Earth's transformation and the price they paid for victory. Part 2, The Awakening Storm. The arrival of Earth's silent armada at the front lines. The Void Scourge's first devastating attack against the humans. Introduction of Wraith Squadron and their specialized capabilities. Earth reveals its ultimate weapon, the Harbinger, and its pilot, Dominic Vale. The battle for the Nexus Gate and Vale's sacrifice. The aftermath and the new balance of power in the galaxy. The price of calling upon Earth's warriors and what it means for the future. Now, let me write Part 1 for you. Part 1, The Desperate Call. The Great Chamber of the Galactic Alliance fell silent as Ambassador NYX of the Luminary activated the holographic display. The crystalline beam's light dimmed with what could only be described as dread as the projection revealed another devastated world, the Ros Prime, once a jewel of the Outer Rim, now a shattered husk. The Void Scourge had struck again, consuming everything in its path and leaving only ash and silence. This marks the 17th colony world lost in the past 60 cycles. NYX's voice resonated through the chamber, each word carrying the weight of billions of lives extinguished. Our combined fleets have been reduced by 60%. Our defensive stations along the Perseus Arm have all gone dark. The Scourge adapts to our weapons faster than we can develop them. High Admiral Jorax of the Telasian Republic slammed his scaled fist against the table. Then we develop better weapons. We cannot simply surrender to these things. With what resources? Chancellor Vexel asked, her 4 eyes blinking asynchronously in distress. Half our production worlds are under siege. The refugees alone are straining our core systems to breaking point. The arguments erupted across the chamber, blame, fear, and desperate plans that all knew would fail. The Galactic Alliance, a confederation of over 300 species that had maintained peace for nearly a millennium, was facing extinction from an enemy that seemed less like a military force and more like a force of nature, consuming, adapting, unstoppable. NYX waited for the shouting to subside before speaking again. There is one option we have not considered. The chamber grew quiet. Earth. The word hung in the air like a curse. Several delegates immediately rose in protest. The humans. Jorax hissed. They have been silent for over 2 centuries. They abandoned the galaxy after the Hive Wars. They did not abandon, NYX corrected. They withdrew. There is a difference. Chancellor Vexel's face darkened. After what they did to their hive. After what they became. Contacting Earth is not an option, it is suicide. Holographic images appeared around the chamber, ancient footage from the final days of the Hive Wars. Massive black ships of human design, moving with impossible speed and precision. Weapons that bent reality itself. And at the center of it all, the soldiers, if they could still be called human at that point. We all know the stories, NYX continued. How they sacrificed their humanity to win an unwinnable war. How they became something other. But we also know they honored their promise to protect the younger races. They defeated the Hive when all seemed lost. And then they went dark, Admiral Jorax added. Cut all diplomatic ties, closed their borders, and vanished behind defense systems so advanced our best probes can't even approach their home system. They became monsters to save us, and then they locked themselves away. NYX's crystalline form pulsed with determination. Because we asked them to. The Alliance Council of that era feared what humanity had become. We pushed them away because we were afraid. But now we face something worse than fear, we face extinction. The debate raged for hours. Many argued that the Void Scourge, terrible as it was, might be preferable to whatever Earth had evolved into. Others pointed out that humanity might have collapsed entirely in their isolation. But as reports continued to flood in of more systems falling, the decision became inevitable. Ambassador NYX stood alone in the transmission chamber, composing the message that might save or doom them all. The ancient emergency frequency, established centuries ago and never used, still existed in the Alliance archives. With trembling light appendages, NYX activated the quantum transmitter. People of Earth. This is Ambassador NYX of the Galactic Alliance. We face an enemy unlike any before. We cannot stop it. We cannot contain it. In our darkest hour, we turn to you, though we know the price you paid for your last victory. We humbly request your aid. The galaxy that once feared you now needs you. Days passed with no response. More worlds fell. The void scourge pressed closer to the Alliance core worlds. Hope dwindled. Then, on the sixth day, strange phenomena began to appear throughout Alliance space. Monitoring stations reported gravitational anomalies. Quantum fluctuations disrupted communications. Stars seemed to dim momentarily as if something massive passed before them. Commander Riven Thorn of the Alliance flagship Resilient was the first to make direct contact. His patrol fleet, defending the Arcturus Gateway, detected what at first appeared to be a sensor malfunction, a vessel of impossible size appearing at the edge of their range. Unknown vessel, Thorn transmitted, following protocol despite his racing heart. This is Alliance Command. Identify yourself. The response came not through conventional channels but somehow directly through every system on the ship simultaneously: screens, personal devices, even the coffee machine in the galley displayed the same simple message. We received your call. Earth has awakened. Within hours, Ambassador NYX was rushed to a secure meeting facility on the neutral moon of Callisto. The humans had specified a single representative, no guards, no weapons. The Alliance Council argued fiercely against these terms, but NYX insisted they were in no position to negotiate. The landing pad was silent save for the eerie hum of the human vessel as it descended, a sleek black ship that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. It touched down without a sound, its hull bearing no markings except for a single stylized emblem, Earth wrapped in thorned branches. When the hatch opened, NYX expected to see some terrifying post-human entity. Instead, a single figure emerged, outwardly human, tall and imposing in a uniform of deep navy blue with silver accents. His face was handsome but severe, with eyes that seemed too aware, too calculating to be fully natural. Ambassador NYX, the man said, his voice rich and resonant. I am Captain Severin Drake of Earth Command. NYX's light flickered in acknowledgement. Captain Drake. Your response is unexpected but welcome. The Alliance thanks you for. Save your diplomatic pleasantries, Drake interrupted. We did not come for thanks. We came because you called, and because some of us still remember what we once swore to protect. Inside the facility, Drake spoke with brutal honesty about what Earth had become. After the Hive Wars, humanity had continued to evolve, not just technologically but biologically and cognitively. They had embraced cybernetic enhancement, neural interfaces, and genetic modification at levels that had transformed them into something beyond their original form. You fear the void scourge because it consumes and adapts, Drake explained. We became masters of adaptation 2 centuries ago. Your ancestors were right to fear us. We are not the humans you once knew. Drake activated a small device on his wrist, and the room filled with holographic displays showing Earth's fleet, massive vessels of designs that defied conventional physics, weapons platforms that could destabilize stars, fighters piloted by consciousness distributed across organic and mechanical systems. This is what you have awakened, Drake said, his augmented eyes fixing on NYX. We cannot simply aid you and leave. If we commit to this war, we commit fully. The methods we will use cannot be undone. The changes we will bring cannot be reversed. NYX's light dimmed with understanding. And what is your price, Captain? Drake's expression remained unchanging. Recognition. After 2 centuries of isolation, Earth will no longer hide in the shadows. We will take our place in galactic affairs again. The Council will never agree. The Council will not exist as you know it if the scourge continues, Drake interrupted. This is not a negotiation, Ambassador. This is a warning of what comes next. As Drake turned to leave, NYX gathered the courage to ask one final question. The stories say that in the final battle against the Hive, Earth unleashed something terrible. Something that changed the fabric of reality itself. Is that capability still within your arsenal? Drake paused at the threshold, his back to the Ambassador. What we unleashed then was merely a prototype. What we have developed since would make the old weapons seem like children's toys. He looked back over his shoulder, and for just a moment, NYX saw something flicker beneath the surface of Drake's eyes, circuits glowing beneath skin, machinery meshed with flesh. Pray you never have to see it used. As the human ship departed, rising silently into the stars, Ambassador NYX felt both hope and terrible dread. Earth was coming, with all its dark power, its transformed warriors, and its forgotten promises. The galaxy would never be the same again. The war against the Void Scourge was about to enter its final, terrifying phase. Earth had awakened, and the stars themselves would tremble. The awakening storm. The Void Scourge struck without warning or mercy. Their living ships, massive organic structures that twisted and pulsed with dark energy, descended upon the Nexus system, home to over 6 billion souls across 3 habitable worlds. Alliance defense forces scrambled to evacuate civilians, but everyone knew the bitter truth: no one had ever successfully defended against a full Scourge assault. Fleet Commander Orion Thalasser stood on the bridge of the Alliance dreadnought Resolute, watching as the enemy approached. A veteran of 17 campaigns, she had never known true fear until this moment. The Scourge fleet was larger than any previously encountered, nearly 300 vessels, each capable of consuming entire cities. All ships in defensive formation, she ordered, her voice steady despite the cold dread in her gut. Priority on civilian evacuation. We hold as long as we can. Her tactical officer, Lieutenant Echo, looked up from his console with eyes wide. Commander, unknown signatures detected approaching from Sector 7. Reinforcements. The Araxian fleet wasn't due for another. They are not Alliance signatures, Commander. Echo's voice dropped to a whisper. The readings match the profile provided by Ambassador NYX. It's them. Earth has arrived. The bridge fell silent as the main view screen shifted to show the approaching vessels. Unlike the organic chaos of the Scourge ships, these were geometric precision embodied, sleek black triangular forms moving in perfect coordination, their surfaces seeming to bend light around them. How many? Thalasser asked. Just 7 vessels, Commander. 7 ships against a Scourge armada of hundreds. It seemed like madness, but no one on the bridge laughed. They had all heard the stories. The comm system activated without anyone initiating contact. Captain Drake's voice filled the bridge. Alliance vessel, this is Earth Command. Clear your forces from Combat Zone Alpha 9 through Delta 3. Maintain evacuation protocols in all other sectors. Thalasser balked. Captain Drake, the area you've specified is our primary defensive line. If we withdraw. This is not a request, Commander Thalasser. Your conventional weapons are ineffective against the Scourge. You will only be in our way. Before she could respond, the 7 Earth vessels accelerated to impossible speeds, moving directly toward the heart of the Scourge fleet. What happened next defied understanding. The lead Earth ship, designated Nemesis in their transmitted data, split into 3 separate components, each component further splitting until nearly 50 smaller craft swarmed toward the enemy. Meanwhile, the remaining 6 larger vessels positioned themselves in a perfect hexagonal formation. Energy surge detected, Echo reported, his voice tight with awe. I've never seen readings like this. From the center of the hexagon, a pulse of dark energy erupted, not directed at the Scourge ships but at the space between them. Reality itself seemed to fracture, creating a gravitational lens that bent the Scourge's own weapons fire back upon them. A dozen enemy ships imploded instantly. The smaller Earthcraft, now identified as Wraith Squadron in the battlefield communications, moved with precision that no organic pilot could achieve. They targeted the neural centers of the Scourge vessels, deploying weapons that didn't destroy but rather subverted, turning the living ships against each other in a frenzy of organic confusion. On the Resolute's bridge, tactical displays struggled to keep pace with the battle. The Void Scourge, accustomed to overwhelming their enemies with superior numbers and adaptability, found themselves facing something beyond their comprehension. "They are winning," Lieutenant Echo whispered. But the tide turned quickly. The Scourge, true to their nature, began to adapt. Their ships merged into larger configurations, developing countermeasures against the Earth tactics. A massive tendril of dark matter lashed out, catching one of the Wraith fighters and crushing it instantly. Then another. Then a third. The Scourge launched a concentrated attack against the Nemesis, their largest weapons converging on the Earth flagship. For a moment, it seemed the vessel would be overwhelmed, until a shadow passed over the battlefield. A new ship had arrived, larger than anything in either fleet. Its design was unlike the other Earth vessels, less geometric, more organic, as if built around something living. The Alliance identification systems labeled it simply as the Harbinger. "Incoming transmission," Echo announced, his voice barely audible. The view screen flickered, and Commander Thalasser found herself looking at a figure unlike any she had ever seen. Humanoid in general shape, but clearly no longer human in the conventional sense. Pale skin embedded with circuitry, eyes that glowed with internal light, and a neural interface that extended from the base of the skull throughout the body. "I am Dominic Vale, Harbinger pilot," the figure said, its voice layered with harmonic undertones as if multiple voices spoke as one. "Earth has analyzed the Scourge adaptation patterns. Conventional tactics are no longer viable. We are initiating Protocol Omega." Captain Drake's voice cut in, urgent and commanding. "Vale, the Harbinger system is not fully tested. The neural load could. The calculations are complete, Captain. The sacrifice is acceptable." Thalasser felt a chill run through her. "Captain Drake, what is Protocol Omega? What is happening?" Drake's response was terse. "Commander, withdraw all remaining Alliance forces immediately. Minimum safe distance is 2 light minutes from the combat zone. But the evacuation isn't. Now, Commander. Or everyone dies." As the Alliance ships scrambled to retreat, the Harbinger moved to the center of the battlefield. The Scourge, sensing a new threat, converged upon it with everything they had. Energy weapons, gravity distortions, biological weapons, all focused on the solitary vessel. The Harbinger absorbed the attacks without apparent damage. Then it began to transform. Sections of the hull reconfigured, revealing what appeared to be organic components merged with technology beyond Alliance understanding. At its core, visible through newly opened segments of the hull, was Dominic Vale, no longer separate from the ship but integrated with it, his body the central nervous system of the vessel itself. "The Harbinger is not a weapon," Drake's voice explained quietly over the comm, "it's an interface. Vale isn't piloting that ship, he's becoming it." What happened next was recorded in Alliance history as the Sundering. The Harbinger began to emit waves of energy that disrupted not just the Scourge ships but the fabric of spacetime itself. The boundary between real space and the dimensional plane the Scourge originated from began to fold and collapse. Vale's voice echoed across all frequencies, no longer sounding remotely human. "You feed on worlds. You consume life. You adapt to survive. Adapt to this." The Scourge fleet tried to retreat, but it was too late. The distortion field expanded exponentially, catching each enemy vessel and literally unwriting them from existence, not destroying but erasing, as if they had never been. The process continued for nearly 6 minutes, until every trace of the Void Scourge had vanished from the Nexus system. When it was over, the Harbinger hung motionless in space, its transformed sections slowly closing, sealing Vale once more within its heart. The other Earth vessels regrouped around it, forming a protective cordon. 3 days later, Ambassador NYX met with Captain Drake aboard the Alliance diplomatic vessel Concordat. The human appeared exhausted, the augmented circuitry beneath his skin more visible than before. "Vale's condition?" NYX asked. Drake's face remained impassive. "He lives. Barely. The Harbinger system was designed to merge human consciousness with dimensional manipulation technology. The neural load nearly destroyed him. He'll recover, but he'll be less human each time. That's the price we pay. And the Scourge? Temporarily repelled, not defeated. Their main consciousness exists outside normal space-time. Veil's actions have forced them to retreat and reconsider, but they will adapt. They always do. NYX's crystalline form shimmered with concern. This victory came at great cost. All victories do, Drake replied. 2 centuries ago, your people feared what we might become if we remained in galactic affairs. You were right to fear us. But now you understand why we chose isolation, not just to protect you from us, but to protect ourselves from what we would have to do if called to war again. He activated a holographic display showing Earth's fleet now positioned strategically throughout Alliance space. The Galactic Council meets tomorrow to discuss the new security arrangements. Earth will take a permanent seat. Our technology will be shared, selectively. Our ships will patrol your borders. And in return? NYX asked. Drake's augmented eyes fixed on the ambassador. In return, you will accept what we have become. No more fear. No more isolation. We are part of this galaxy again, for better or worse. As the meeting concluded, NYX posed one final question: Captain, was it worth it? What your people sacrificed to become this? Drake was silent for a long moment. Then, with a ghost of humanity still visible in his eyes, he replied, ask the billions who will live because of Veil's sacrifice. Ask the worlds that still stand because Earth answered when called. We paid our price willingly, Ambassador. The question is, are you willing to pay yours? As Drake departed, NYX gazed out at the stars, contemplating a galaxy forever changed. Earth had awakened, bringing with it power beyond imagination and warriors beyond humanity. The Void Scourge had been driven back, but at what cost? And what new age would dawn now that Earth's darkest warriors had returned to the galactic stage? The answer would unfold in the coming years, as humanity's transformation became the galaxy's salvation, and perhaps, its greatest challenge yet.